Welcome to the Cryptonomatron, guys. Thanks for joining me again today. In this video, we'll be looking at DAPSCoin, formerly Peepcoin. But if this is your first time watching the channel, guys, and you want to know more about ICOs, promising cryptocurrencies, and learn how to make crypto work for you, then you got to click that subscribe button and you got to click that bell notification icon to get notified when I upload new content and whenever, and I promise I will eventually, go live. Thanks for doing that, guys. Well, let's get on and let's have a look at DAPSCoin, formerly Peepcoin. So what is DAPSCoin? Well, it's the decentralized anonymous payment system that's a one-to-one swap of Peepcoin. Now, I don't know what Peepcoin is. I've heard of it, but only in passing. But apparently this DAPS is a planned experimental hybrid fork swap of this Peepcoin. And the goal of the protocol here is to create a fully anonymous coin and eventually a payment system with a trustless governance structure, which they claim will be a first in cryptocurrencies. So let's take a look. What's it up against? Who are the competition? So my little birds on Twitter sung to me about DAPSCoin, and that's how I picked up on it. No Varys Game of Thrones jokes, please. The only thing we share in common is our baldy heads. So somebody put it quite succinctly on Twitter as well and said, DAPSCoin is everything that Verge wishes it could be. And if you don't know what Verge is, you've probably been living in a cave somewhere. Verge, or XVG, is a privacy coin. It's a secure and anonymous cryptocurrency. It has been the victim of several hacks recently with vulnerabilities in the code, and also it has partnered up with Pornhub, I believe. Interesting business decision there. I've done a couple of videos on Verge. Again, look back through my channel to find them. I'll leave a link to one of them above. And again, there was a lot of people saying it was just, you know, going to exit scam or whatever, but it's still around. It's still going despite all the blows it's taken. It's suffered a standing 8 count, but it's still there and it's still going, and it rose from relative obscurity. I reviewed it last year, I think, when it was under a penny, and it then it got hype, it got traction, and it shot up to something like 23 cents at all-time high, which was very, very impressive. So continuing vulnerabilities with Verge seem to be an ongoing issue. This was a mining exploit, the most recent hack. It occurred just about 2 weeks ago. And what happened was they minted an additional 35 million coins worth about $1.8 million. And that they exploited a vulnerability in the Verge algorithm, they believe, which basically allows you to mine or mint these coins at low difficulty. So it's again another blow to Verge's credibility here. So the reason I've made Verge the main competitor, and I'm not really going to mention any other privacy coins or similar coins today, is because Verge came from a similar place to where Peepcoin, or DAPSCoin as it's going to be, is coming from today. Under a penny. Similar supplies in terms of circulating supply. Again, it came pretty much from nowhere, built up a large community, and Verge still does have a community. In all my videos I do mention that's one thing that saved Verge from falling into obscurity, is that it actually does have the support of a very good community behind it. Yeah, they can be intolerable at times, and they do defend Verge right to the death, but again, that's to be expected. Cryptocurrency is quite polarizing, and projects like Verge tend to be, you know, and they get under people's skin quite a lot. So there are a lot of detractors of Verge, and again, a lot of supporters. And DAPSCoin is similar in terms that they have the community backing behind it. It's also similar in terms of circulating supply as well. So Verge has been around for a long time. I think it was Dogecoin Dark back in 2014, 2015, and then it rebranded. And as you can see, it was worth the square root of fuck all way back then. Very, very low market cap in terms of what it's achieved now, at around $50 million. And of course, just at the tail end of 2017, it started to pick up steam, and look where we are around November. I had it before, I had it back in October or even earlier than that last year, and I held up quite a bit of it. made a little bit of gains out of it as well, and you can see it started to pick up from last November up until January, December. There's an all-time high there of 27 cents, and it continued to sort of ride on the crest of a wave during the pump in January, where its market cap went over 2 billion, almost up to $3 billion, would you believe? So that's a phenomenal achievement. It has fallen away again, but it's, like I said, it's got its detractors, and it has had issues with hacking, exposed vulnerabilities, that type of stuff. So it's taken a hit, but it's still there. It's still at number 33 in the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, so it's still around. And the reason that I'm talking about it today is because I think that DAPSCoin is in a similar position as Verge was way back in early 2017. So I know I said I wasn't going to mention any other competitors, but I had to mention Hexcoin. A lot of people asked me to do a review on it, and I'll probably look at it in the next few weeks if I have time. And another one that's another micro cap, I think it's only got a market cap of about $500,000, is Arium as well. And low supply, about 111 million. Again, you know, could be potentially quite interesting in the future. So in the chart behind me, you can see the direct comparison with Verge, Monero, Zcash, and Dash. And on all fronts, DAPS wins out. It has more features than the other competition, and it's invulnerable to time warp attacks. It's trustless, and atomic swaps are planned as well. So it really may have the competitive advantage over everybody else. So what problems are they trying to solve? Well, the main one is the privacy issue here, and to preserve people's right to control their own finances, their own data, and everything else as well. In the face of continuing oppression from governments around the world, you know, this is a fundamental human rights being eroded that's day to day by these authorities. And in traditional blockchains and anonymity or privacy chains, the users are exposed to a lot of analytics gathering and also malicious attack vectors. Now, I mentioned Verge already. We can see what's happening there. People's IP addresses were also exposed. It was claimed on Verge at one point as well. So not completely private. Certain people claim anyway. And again, I'm not bashing Verge here, guys. You know what I mean? I've done loads of videos on it. You know my opinion on it. I'm just saying that, you know, it's highlighting some of the problems that we need to solve within cryptocurrency, and DAPSCoin is intending to do that. So the aims of the project then are to create this fully anonymous coin and eventually a payment system with a trustless governance structure, which will be a first in cryptocurrency. So to do that, they have crafted this unique blend of tested obfuscation techniques. Some are redundant, but all are vetted, and they believe this is going to offer the most complete anonymity package in any protocol to date, with on-chain trustless governance solution called Proof of Audit, which is going to be a first in the sphere. So they're going to utilize various successful features of competing protocols. They're going to implement a multi-layered and fully autonomous system with a mandatory privacy, while also removing the trust issue of completely private networks as well. So the legacy of this project, as I mentioned, is rooted in Peepcoin, which was a coin based on the lib0 coin protocol with the anonymity features removed. So they will be re-enabling those features, running on the DAPS network, and allow Peepcoin holders to swap to this new chain upon completion. The swap will be created on a one-to-one basis, and any Peepcoin holders will therefore then own DAPSCoin instead. So what's the market for something like DAPSCoin? Well, I think it's quite good, actually. I think there's a need for a good, solid privacy coin, and people thought it was going to be Verge, and it isn't. So, you know, the mantle is there to be taken on, and I think that DAPSCoin's got quite a good chance of doing that. If it gets a bigger following, it goes more mainstream, then it certainly could be more widespread adopted. And McAfee, you know, and I hate to reference him because, you know, he's in this for his own ends as well. He isn't doing it from an altruistic perspective, although he tries to claim he is. I think he's doing it purely from a self-interest and financial perspective. But he has also highlighted the importance of good privacy coins for the future as well. So there is a big market. We saw Verge last year and early this year go from a market cap of around you know, $350,000 up to 700 million and beyond. So there's definitely potential, definitely a market there for a good privacy coin. And if DAPSCoin can actually make it a payment service as well that's viable, private, anonymous, then the sky's the limit, really. So the mission of DAPS is to maintain honesty, transparency, and also community focus as well. They have a know your developer process where only the most skilled and honest developers are given access. They want to be fully audited, and they've written these standards into their governance system, which I think is quite cool. They are obviously proponents of the original vision of Satoshi Nakamoto, the author of the Bitcoin Whitepaper. Quote from Hal Finney there on the website, as you can see. And the devs are obviously committed to the project. They believe in it as well, which I think is quite important to state. If you want to talk to them, you can actually jump on Discord or even Telegram, and they'll answer your questions if you have any about the project. And it's the team is divided into different tiers. You have the leadership and advisor team, the development team, the media team, and then the community support and international team as well. As I mentioned, the governance and code of conduct is quite interesting. They actually have a governance model and a code of conduct that all developers and people involved with the project are expected to follow as well. They also have this meta governance called DAPS Core, and that's modeled on Bitbean's Bean Core program, something I don't know a lot about, I have to admit, and it allows more than programmers the chance to contribute to the decision-making process on a developer level. Pretty cool. And yeah, I like this idea. It gives me a little bit of confidence in this project, having this code of conduct and having this governance. So they want to make the trusted trustless, and what they mean by this is in a normal blockchain, in a private chain, for example, and the only fully private chain we have at the moment is Zcash, it's not a trustless system. So what this basically means is we are actually trusting the nodes, the master nodes, as a governance of the coin supply, inflation, and other various specifications. Now, in an anonymous currency, node operators can actually collude off-chain to generate infinite numbers of coins in secret. There's no third party to verify if the chain is under such attack as well, and you can't roll back the changes. So it's important that we can detect and we can prevent this happening. And the way that DAPSCoin want to do it is to basically apply a trust system called proof of audit. Now, more details about this will be released in due course, but basically what's going to happen is they're going to apply what they're calling the Harpocrates protocol, which is a hard-coded solution to this trust issue using protocols to audit what the nodes are doing. So they basically have like almost like a third party to verify the coin supply to prevent the nodes from being used maliciously. So this ecosystem does have master nodes. You are required to have 1 million DAPS collateral, a dedicated IP address, and you'll have to run for 24 hours a day without more than a 1-hour connection loss at any given time. Now, master nodes get paid using what they call a seesaw method for offering their services to the network as well. They're paid a portion of the block rewards to maintain the ecosystem, basically. The payments in the DAPS coin, and it forms a passive income to the masternode holder. So the DAPS masternode system is based on the PIVX masternode. It has many bonuses. It prevents 51% attacks unless both layers are compromised simultaneously, and they work on this seesaw balance reward system, which has a 60-40 masternode proof of stake reward split, balancing to a maximum of 40-60 masternode proof of reward split. So it goes either way from those that are staking and those that are actually providing masternodes. So this gives a fair reward to holders that don't have enough coins to actually stake a masternode. So it works with a mandatory Tor hidden service with .onion addresses to prevent attacks on node operators by tracing IP or even the port usage. So some countries block Tor access, so they're using OBS4, which will be implemented so that users from these countries can continue to use the wallet as they like. And OBS4 will be mandatory along with the Tor hidden services as well to allow anyone to access the network from anywhere in the world. And one trade-off of this technology is slower wallet synchronization, as you can imagine, especially when you're going through the proxies that Tor has to go through, and wallets take ages to sync as it is. But again, you're just going to have to put up with that for this wholly obfuscated node service. So some of the other interesting features, aside from the masternodes and the mandatory Tor relays and OBS4, are private send using CoinJoin++, ZK snarks, so all the transaction data is completely encrypted, ring CT, which Monero utilizes for transactions and obviously to obfuscate balances as well, and mandatory stealth addresses too. So stealth address will be dynamic for public addresses, preventing tracking the stealth address at any time. So some other features, proof of stake version 3, which is energy efficient and fair. Static emissions, so there's no inflationary model here, it's flat emissions of the currency and they're stated, and we'll look at them in the token section. 10 megabit block size as well, which is scalable for the future. And this on-chain supply audit or trustless trust issue, solving Hippocrates protocol, they call it, which we'll need to wait and see more details on that in the future, but certainly an interesting way of stopping malicious actions by the nodes. So the main aim or use of this cryptocurrency, and it is a cryptocurrency, not a token, is actually to become an anonymous payment method. And it does have some other advantages as well. It's PIVX based. You can actually stake 1 million DAPS to get a masternode, and you can have multiple masternodes as well and turn them into a multi-node. So they are aiming to have an element of cross-chain liquidity, and to achieve that, they're going to focus on atomic swaps and other innovative cross-chain liquidity solutions. So the DAPSCoin is a swap of Peepcoin, and it's completely different, but you can swap your Peepcoin over on a one-to-one basis. So if you've got Peepcoin, I suggest you start to do that now. There's a 90-day window to swap. Instructions are on the website and on Reddit as well if you need to get some information about it. Now, as far as the new DAPS coin is concerned, it's a PIVX-based coin. It's a proof-of-stake coin, as I mentioned, with an auxiliary proof-of-audit block as well. So there will be this Hippocrates protocol running, which will perform the proof-of-audit once per hour, or one block per hour. So the proof-of-stake algo will run in tandem with the proof of audit algo. Block times are a minute. Block reward is 1,050 DAPS coins. Founder fees per blocks are 50 DAPS, and the effective block reward to you is therefore 1,000 DAPS. Confirms required before the spend is 4 blocks, and it takes 200 blocks for your stake to mature. As I mentioned earlier, you'll need 1 million DAPS coins to stake a masternode. So the swap process from Peepcoin will be completely automated. There's no developer interaction here. As I mentioned, unswapped Peepcoin will be burnt at the end of the period. So the supply should actually shrink a little bit, but there is daily emissions of almost 1.5 million DAPS until the cap is reached. So that means there will be about half a billion DAPS being emitted at a fixed rate annually until the cap is reached. So the maximum supply will have an additional 10 billion on top of the final DAPS supply. So for example, if 10 billion coins are swapped, the maximum supply will be 20 billion. If 50 billion coins are swapped, then the maximum supply will be 60 billion. So the emissions will continue for 16 years, and the dynamic proof-of-stake percentage will be about 4 to 12% annually. Obviously, you'll need to take into account difficulty and luck as well for your rewards. So Peepcoin's been on CoinMarketCap, and we can see there the circulating supply is just a little bit over 14.5 billion, with a total supply of just under 54 billion. So a fairly high number that we're working with here, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that the circulating supply is about the same as Verge, and as you can see, the price at the moment is, well, it's 0.07 of a cent or thereabouts. 10 Satoshi, so there is potential here to actually get yourself a masternode for about $750, so that's pretty good. Volume is decent as well. You know, it's only on very small exchanges. In fact, we'll just have a look there. Market cap's quite low at just under 11 million US dollars as well. So again, it's not on major exchanges, so you know, it isn't really liquid at the moment. If it goes on a big exchange, expect this to absolutely moon, guys. So I don't really have any issues or concerns about this project, really. It's a, you know, it's a relatively unknown, smaller cap coin, so you need to be aware of the risks if you're going to get involved with this. And you know, it goes without saying, Peepcoin was pretty much a shit coin. One of the, I think the lead developer, it left Peepcoin and left it abandoned. And again, these projects just fester and then disappear into obscurity if the development team's not active. But fortunately for us, it's been resurrected in a way with new features and a keen development team with a code of ethics as well. So it's looking very promising. So the network's still to be launched, the wallet's still to be upgraded, there's a few things going to happen. You've got to remember here, guys, that this is a project in the making. You need to be patient here. This isn't something that you're going to buy and double your money over the space of a couple of months. This is certainly a longer term investment, minimum of 6 to 18 months, I would say, for this one to come to fruition, because there's a lot to do. It's a complex project. You can look at the roadmap, and in fact, the roadmap's quite detailed. You can click on each one of the little bullet points and find out exactly what's going to go on, and not when it's going to happen, because they've left that open. They don't want to set themselves deadlines that they can't meet, but rest assured they are working towards the full network launch, and you will be notified as well before anything happens. So what do I like about this project then? And there's a lot to like in terms of what they're proposing. They propose anonymous and trustless payment solution, and that is needed. I think there's not really something that we can really use at the moment. And if they can actually implement some of the technology that they're planning, then, you know, this could be a fantastic game changer for the way we actually pay in private and anonymously. Instant payments with low fees are something that we need very badly in crypto. There are some solutions, but again, they're not totally anonymous. And masternodes, who doesn't like masternodes? This is my second project masternode review in 2 days. I love masternodes, I love residual income, and you should as well. And it's a low cost to get a masternode here. You're looking at $750 as it currently stands, and in a project with such potential, that could be very lucrative indeed in the future. And you have to look at other projects, including Dash, another privacy coin that has masternodes. At one point, Dash masternode was worth $250,000 or even more. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen with DAPSCoin by any means, but you can see there is potential here to make good returns and good gains. This has also got competitive advantages, not only over Dash, but other privacy rivals like Verge and Monero as well. It's still relatively unknown, so there's still an opportunity to get in at an early stage before too many people are talking about it, too many people are buying in, and you've missed that big gain opportunity. I like the fact they've got a code of conduct for the devs and good governance as well. I think that's really important, and you know, it's a very innovative and clever thing to introduce. It gives investors and people that back the project a lot of confidence, and it also makes sure everybody's working for the good of the community and the sticking to the tenets of what the coin is all about, and that's fantastic. I really like that, and I think more projects should implement this. It's fantastic. So the tech features also look awesome as well. The jury's still out on the Hippocrates protocol because we haven't seen any details of how the proof of audit is actually going to work. But you know, it looks awesome. A lot of the stuff they're implementing, it looks really good. And it's not on any major exchanges yet as well. Again, it provides opportunity. If this goes on a big exchange, you can say bye-bye to the price. It will shoot up. I can guarantee you that. And it's only 10 sats at the moment for your tokens. It means you can get a masternode very cheaply, or you can just stock up on them. If you can't afford a masternode, get a few $100s invested. You could turn that few $100s into a few $1,000s. Make no mistake. And it's got a little bit of a buzz at the moment on social media because people have realized what they're trying to do. It's creating interest. More people are getting on board. I see it mentioned more and more, and that's just going to explode in the future. And I love the fact that they're focused on honesty, transparency, and community, and Satoshi Nakamoto's original vision for Bitcoin as well. So in terms of risks, what I don't like about the project and what poses risk in my opinion is, one of the things is Peepcoin has a shitcoin stigma, and that's going to be hard to shake off. So the devs are going to have to work very, very hard for people to believe that the DAPSCoin has actually got some credibility. You know, it's the same as Verge. When anybody mentions Verge, they always say, oh, it's just Dogecoin Dark rebranded. And DAPSCoin will have to do very, very well to shake off the stigma of Peepcoin. It needs to get on major exchanges eventually. If it doesn't, then, you know, the liquidity is going to be limited here and it's going to fail. Major exchanges are going to be critical for this to achieve a Verge-like surge. And privacy rivals are already better known. They've got the branding, they're currently more competitive as it stands, and they're already established as well. So when you think about privacy, you don't think about DAPSCoin. The marketing has to be done here, the branding has to be done, word of mouth and community will spread, but as yet, that's still to be achieved. And the tech here is not finalized. It may have weaknesses. They even refer to some potential limitations and weaknesses in the white paper, as limited as the white paper may be. So we have to bear that in mind, that this is not a finished product by any standards of the imagination. And this Hippocrates protocol or proof of audit technical details have not yet been released. So this sort of reminds me at the moment of the Verge's Wraith protocol. We waited for ages and ages, and eventually it was a damp squib, and people were basically saying, does it actually even work? And this might be the same. I'm hoping not, and I'm thinking not, but there's always a risk. And this has fairly low liquidity at the moment because it's only on minor exchanges, and if it doesn't achieve anything, it could leave you holding bags, and those bags will get more worthless over time if this doesn't go in the right direction. So potential gains now, what I think this might do given the market and taking into account previous similar projects like Verge, for example. So in an ultra bearish market, this may lose 20%. There's a lot of buzz about it at the moment, so I don't think that's a current concern. But again, you never know. Crypto's a very, very fickle space, isn't it? In a bearish market though, it's done fairly well already. It's 20% up today even. So I think this could do a 2 or 3x over a period of time, even in a bearish environment, because it's still very, very undervalued in my opinion. Now in a bullish market, things get really crazy here, guys. I think this could potentially do a 20x in a bullish market. I think this could easily do that. If we look at Verge as an example, and this could potentially be better than Verge. It proposes to be better than Verge. This is what Verge should have been. And if it can achieve only a little of what it claims, a 20x is easily achievable here, guys. We're talking, it's at almost 0.08 of a cent at the moment. How could it not? And in a perma-bullish environment, I'm being very conservative here, but I'm saying this is going to 50x. If it implements, if the team get the shit together, yeah, 50x, possibly 100x, possibly even more. And my recommendations, buy up to 50 sats at the moment. Again, caution before rushing in. So buy up to 50 sats. It's at 10 sats at the moment. So again, accumulate at the moment is my advice to you, and sell at 1,000 sats. That's my sell level. You know, you can make a 20x out of this very, very easily, I believe, and selling at 1,000 sats would be a sensible position to take at least some profits from your baggies. So to summarize, what do I think about DAPSCoin? Well, I think it's got real potential. If it can achieve even half of what Verge has achieved, then it's a winner. It really is. And, you know, at this kind of price, with the master nodes as well for residual incomes, I believe it's worth taking a risk on, and I've invested in it already. And how could you not? It's very, very tempting at the current prices. It's you know, it's been quite successful even in the bullish environment. It's got a little bit of a buzz on social media about it, and that's only going to grow, guys. So it's in your interest probably to get in at the earliest stage. It's got some very, very cool technical features. It's got some very interesting code of conduct and governance structure as well, which I like. I really do. It does actually appeal to me a lot. So yes, I bought some more today. What can I say? So thanks for joining me today, guys. If you enjoyed that video, give us a like, give us a subscribe, help the channel grow, and click on that bell icon as well if you've not already, and you get notified as soon as I upload new token reviews, new ICO reviews, and other videos. I do have other social media as well, guys. If you want to follow me on Medium, I've got a blog, I've got a Telegram group too. It's open, so you can come and join and contribute to the community as well. All that's left is really to say I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. If you're going to invest in cryptocurrencies, please bear in mind it poses inherent risk, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always do your own due diligence and your own research into different projects, and never rush in. Always invest with a little bit of wisdom and caution as well. And again, you know, another shitcoin was just exposed today. The SEC shut down Titanium blockchain. Another one shilled by the usual suspects I keep telling you to avoid. You getting the joke yet?